Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Pastor's Update for this week. Just a few things I want to cover with you. And first, the COVID-19 lock-in that we're in. We're in 5 weeks now, and it's been challenging, of course, but also I think it's been good for some of us to unite with our families a little bit more. And I noticed that our church is communicating more over the phone and, of course, the internet. And we have the 6 Zoom groups that are on. Call them Zoom groups now. There are small groups, and they're meeting obviously online right now because we can't meet in the places we normally meet. So, and we've had a couple people that are on from our online community ask about them. So if you would like to join a Zoom group, this is a perfect time to do it. And then when we get back to doing life, some of these Zoom groups are going to continue to go in the future. So if you are a part of our online community, you're not in a Olathe viewing area, and so you're unable to come to the campus, we'd love to have you in our Zoom groups, and I think you'd find them valuable. So to continue with the COVID update, we're hearing some good things out there about some of the research that's surfacing. They think they have a few things that may be working to help minimize this infection, and maybe even a vaccine coming soon. But we are not out of the thick of it yet, and so we are preparing to have to go a little bit further with this than the end of April. Hopefully it's not that, but we are preparing for that. And so just be aware that as this time comes where we can get back to life as we know it, normalcy, we will still be evaluating what's going to be best for the church. And I want to affirm that for you because I want to make sure that we are doing our part to be good neighbors. So we'll just continue to do as we are doing. And again, if you are not in a small group and would like to be in one, I think it's a great time to do that. And so jump in as we work through this isolation time. Some of the things that we are also doing to make sure that the vision of the church, which is spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, the transforming love of Jesus Christ through Johnson County. We're still getting ready for summer and fall activities that involve spiritual growth. And so you're going to be hearing a lot about these engaged groups that we're going to kick off in the fall. You may be even contacted to be a facilitator of those. And so just be aware that these are going to be some really amazing groups. These are in addition to our small groups and Sunday school, so we're not eliminating, we're adding to that. And there's some intentionality behind it, and you'll learn about that as they come out. So Dick and Jan Sipe will be communicating that throughout the next couple months. So be aware when you start hearing about the engaged groups, you're also going to hear this term VIP, very important people. And there's going to be some intentionality behind that as well as we speak the gospel of truth to our communities. So just be listening. I wanted to give you a little bit of a teaser so that you can be anticipating something pretty cool coming up. Also, I wanted to let you know that we are still planning to have a visitation team, and thank you to Pastor Jessica for getting all of that ready and doing what she does best. That's one of her giftings. And we are getting closer to a training time that'll be on Zoom for those that would like to be a part of this visitation team. We have contacted a few people that we believe will be a part of this, but if you think you're a person who could sit alongside someone, or even just phone calls or email or send cards or text or just call to care for folks that cannot make it to the physical church on a regular basis, please let us know. This includes our online viewing too. If you have someone that you can't come to the church period because you're not in the Olathe viewing area, but you want to be a part of this ministry, let us know. We would love to talk to you about that. And you can do that by going to our website, and there is a place under the hub that says Let's Connect. Just click on that, and you can fill out a form and send it. It comes right to our emails, and we'll respond. So we're working on those. Also, summer projects. One of the things that we have kind of put on the hold for a little bit is the garden, because it is going to take so much work. And we do plan to do it, though. We do plan to still make that community garden. Maybe not this year, but we are also thinking maybe we might partner with someone this year so that those who have really had their hopes to help our community by growing some vegetables. We'll get an opportunity to do that. So stay tuned for that. We've got some phone calls that we've made and some emails sent out, and hopefully we'll hear back to a place that we might be able to do that. Also wanted to share with you that we have not completely eliminated the Moreau mission trip. We have postponed it because we had it scheduled for early June, which that's probably not going to work. It'd be too quick to do this coming back from COVID and the COVID isolation. So we're postponing it, and we're hoping to do it in late summer or early fall. And the hope is we do it before school starts, so we have some of those middle hires and high schoolers and even children that would want to come down with their families to be a part of that. So stay tuned for that too. We are in conversations with Betty at Moreau, and we are hoping that we can get that done. And so it's not completely eliminated yet, but it is postponed. So be praying for that if you could. Also, notice on our website that there has been some adjustments, and thank you to Sherry Drake for heading that up. We are slowly making some progress on the website, and if you know anything about websites, after about 2 to 3 years, they become old, and you have to renew them. And so we had one many years ago, and then about 4 years ago we redid it, and it was fantastic. But now it's got a little older, so we have made some adjustments, and Sherry's really making some adjustments that are specific for this time. And so please go look at it, check it out, thumb through it, and know that it is under construction. So there's still some old pieces that are in there, and with the new pieces. But as we continue to update it, that's going to be a hub for information. You're going to want to go there as much as you can. So check it out and see some of the new things going on. The last thing I wanted to say before I just touch on a little devotion in our text is thank you for those of you that are continuing to tithe. It does make a huge difference that we can continue to do the ministry of Christ even in this time of challenges. And so the faith that you have shown in continuing your giving is amazing. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. We've been able to still fulfill our commitments to our mission work, as well as cover the bills and stay moving. And so that's one of the things that God has graced us with, is just the ability to be rewarded through our faith, as we read that in 1 Peter. And so thank you for your faithfulness and the giving. And if you would like to know a little bit more about a giving app that we have now acquired, it'll be at the end of this particular vlog. You'll see a little advertisement, and you can go find that on the App Store, both Apple and Android. It is really easy, and it's something that we just received that we did not have. Received it from our online platform already, so it was really nothing new. We didn't even have to pay for it. We get it, so it's kind of a nice thing, and it is easy to use. So with that, as we think about this COVID thing and the challenges it has for us, I want to think about the challenges that Jonathan and the armor bearer had when they were facing the Philistines, and some of the ways that they handled it. And we talked a little bit about how they moved forward and had their faith in God. We talked a little bit about the community coming together and being united, even those the ones that had dissented. But one of the things I want to think about now is just the attitude that Jonathan and the armor bearer had. And there are multi facets of that. First and foremost, I think there was this patience that we see. And we know that they went over there before the army. So not the patience in moving, but the patience in listening and asking God for a specific sign. And that means that they were really in tune to the Spirit. And when they asked for a specific sign to take place, whether they would be gifted with the victory or not, there was this patience as they slowly walked down the hills and climbed up the side. They were patiently waiting for God to really do something, and God did. God verbally told them to come up through the voice of the Philistines. And so I think about the situation where we're at with the COVID virus and the isolation and the lock-in, and it's tough. It really is, especially when we're community people. But one of the things that we ought to remember is that when we are patient, the Lord really does show up and shows us ways to live through things that we are a part of. And in Colossians chapter 3, it talks about when we embody the Spirit of God that we have the ability to have this self-control, to be patient, right? So there was this patience that Jonathan and the armor bearer had in just listening and waiting for God to really share with them the direction to go. And when they heard, they moved. And so that's the other thing, is they listened and they moved in a direction that God said. So they didn't wait. They didn't try and make it a perfect situation. They knew they had to take a step forward in order to see where they were to go, what was going to happen. And so they did. They moved forward. Which in Ephesians chapter 5, God talks a little bit to us through Paul about this thing of taking advantage of every opportunity. In fact, it says, make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. You know, and we're in days that are really challenging. And so when we think about what does God want us to do, there's a lot of things that we could be doing even in isolation that brings the awareness of God's love and mercy that came from the resurrection through Christ Jesus to a community around us. Number one is just when you hear of an opportunity to love on someone and share the gospel, do so. We don't want to hold back the light of Christ in a moment when the light is needed. And right now, online, I want to share with you that there has been more online traffic for searching of spiritual strength than there has since the internet has evolved. And this is really a beautiful thing to see the internet being used for something good instead of always something kind of challenging and evil. And I'm not saying the internet's evil, but there are things out there that obviously that can pull people in a direction that is away from goodness. Well, now we're using this internet, this web, that was made a few years back to really impact the world in a positive way. And here's a fine opportunity that we sit in our homes right now because we need to, but we can communicate to the world. Isn't that an interesting thing? We stay in our house, but we can communicate to the world. And so what are we communicating, and how are we communicating, and why are we communicating? Well, I think God's given us an opportunity to patiently listen to His Word and take it into our hearts and bind it into us as we move forward in opportunities to share the gospel of Christ Jesus with people in our communities and even on the other side of the world. So reach out to people, and maybe you should even try to do a vlog. You might be good at it. Put it out there and share with people what's on your heart, and just be there for folks. So take advantage of this opportunity. And also, when we're thinking about taking advantage of opportunities, sometimes our lives as suburbanites, and for those of you that are not in the Olathe viewing area, maybe you don't live in a suburban area. I don't know if it's the same in the urban core, but in the suburban area, we are running all sorts of directions. We have to drive everywhere, and if you have multiple kids, you're doing multiple things, which keeps us from being together a lot. I mean, most families don't even eat dinner together, hardly. And so this is one of those opportunities where we have so much time together that we should really be fulfilling that time together by creating good relationships and values that will be long-lasting, memories that will never be forgotten. And so looking at this as kind of a negative way is maybe not what God really wants us to do. Look at it in a positive way to create a new and reconnecting with our families, our friends, our neighbors, and maybe even ourselves with trying to figure out who we are. Taking a good look at ourselves is a good opportunity to do that. And so I would encourage you that during this time, follow the example of the armor bearer and Jonathan, who were in a situation where they needed to be patient, right? Patiently listening and but then taking a step forward and taking full advantage of the opportunity that was at hand, even if it looked dismal and it didn't look so good. Because what we know happens at the end of that story is they come out of it victorious, and their community grows, and there is a stronger community. And so that's one of the things we can look forward to. At the light of this end of this tunnel is that Christ's victory will be victorious in this time too, and we will see an amazing thing come out of this difficult time. Folks, that's all I have for you this week. Miss you terribly. Look forward to visiting with you online Sunday. please know that my line is always open. If you need anything, please call me or text or email. I'll be glad to respond. And for those that are reaching out to you, have a great conversation and enjoy speaking with your church family in a new way. And so we'll see you online. Have a great week.